Picture a sun-scorched Montana battlefield where dust chokes the air, horses thunder across the plains, and the sharp crack of rifles echoes through the valley. Hundreds of Native American warriors encircle a small group of U.S. cavalrymen, outnumbered and facing almost certain death. This is Custer's Last Stand, the Battle of the Little Bighorn, an encounter that would shock the nation, become legend, and forever shape the history of the American West. Today we explore the ambitions, strategies, and tragic consequences of this pivotal moment in history, diving into the human stories on both sides of the conflict. George Armstrong Custer was born in 1839 in New Rumley, Ohio, into a modest family. From childhood, he exhibited a fearless and determined nature, never content with mediocrity. At West Point, Custer became notorious for his rebelliousness, accumulating 726 demerits, yet he demonstrated undeniable military talent. By the age of 23, he had risen to the rank of general in the Civil War, one of the youngest in U.S. history. His audacious tactics, often leading charges from the front, earned him fame and the nickname the Boy General. Custer craved glory and public recognition. His flamboyant appearance with flowing blonde hair and striking uniforms made him a media darling. After the Civil War, he was assigned to the 7th Cavalry in the West, a post he considered beneath his ambition, but which would place him on a path toward infamy. Within his regiment, Custer relied on family and loyal allies, including his brothers Tom and Boston and his brother-in-law James Calhoun. His relationship with scouts like Bloody Knife, who had personal vendettas against native leaders, added a layer of intelligence to his operations. Yet his arrogance and overconfidence often alienated other officers, including Major Marcus Reno and Captain Frederick Benteen, creating tension that would affect the battle. The discovery of gold in the Black Hills in 1874 ignited conflict with the Sioux and allied tribes. The 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty had promised the Black Hills to the Lakota, yet the U.S. government sought to exploit the region's resources. President Ulysses S. Grant and federal officials encouraged settlers to move in, provoking inevitable conflict. Sitting Bull, a spiritual and political leader, foresaw this threat and rallied a coalition of Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors. His calm leadership and prophetic visions provided unity and strategy to the native forces. Crazy Horse, a young and fearless Oglala war leader, became central to the coalition's military strength. He was known for innovative tactics, speed, and understanding of terrain. Sitting Bull's vision, foretelling a great native victory over the Americans, inspired the tribes and prepared them for the confrontation to come. By May 17, 1876, General Alfred Terry orchestrated a three-pronged campaign to trap native forces in Montana. Custer, however, treated the mission with casual bravado, often focusing on hunting and exploration rather than military strategy. The tension between him, Reno, and Benteen grew as these officers recognized both the risks and Custer's impulsiveness. An early engagement occurred on June 17th at the Rosebud River, where Crazy Horse and 1,500 warriors defeated General Crook's forces. Crook's retreat and failure to report the full strength of the native coalition left Custer underestimating the number of warriors he would face at Little Bighorn. Sitting Bull moved his people to the Valley of the Greasy Grass, now Little Bighorn, where thousands gathered, combining celebration with preparation for defense. This gathering represented not only resistance but a cultural moment as native peoples reaffirmed their traditions and solidarity. Custer's 7th Cavalry numbered around 600 men, divided into detachments under Custer, Reno, and Benteen. Custer's overconfidence led him to attack immediately rather than wait, despite intelligence of the enemy's superior numbers. Reno's crossing of the Little Bighorn River brought immediate disaster. Outnumbered, his men retreated under heavy fire, losing many soldiers and horses. The confusion was compounded by difficult terrain, and the rapid, coordinated attacks of native warriors, who used both firearms and traditional weapons effectively. Captain Benteen, arriving later with reinforcements, established defensive positions on Reno Hill. Joined by other troops and the pack train, they entrenched and prepared to hold out. Observing the chaos below and hearing gunfire from Custer's direction, Benteen made the controversial choice to maintain his position, preserving his men's lives rather than attempting a perilous rescue. Custer pressed north along the bluffs with 5 companies. Upon seeing thousands of tents and realizing the massive size of the native encampment, he nevertheless advanced. Rallying his men with cries of, "Hurrah, boys, we've got them!" he moved toward what would. Native warriors, led by Crazy Horse and Gall, executed a brilliant encirclement. Within roughly an hour, every soldier under Custer's command was killed, including Custer himself, his brothers, and his brother-in-law. Sitting Bull later described the fallen soldiers as standing like a sheath of corn with all the ears fallen around them. Benteen and Reno held Reno Hill overnight until reinforcements arrived. The nation was shocked by the annihilation of Custer's command, with blame and controversy surrounding his decisions, Reno's retreat, and Benteen's caution. Sitting Bull and the native coalition received little immediate recognition, despite their strategic brilliance and bravery. The bodies of Custer and his men bore evidence of brutal combat, scalping, mutilation, and gunshot wounds. The battle became a symbol of both tragedy and heroism, shaping historical narratives for generations. Custer's Last Stand has been romanticized in American culture, portraying Custer as a heroic martyr. Native accounts focus on strategy, defense, and the preservation of culture. Historians continue to debate Custer's judgment, his recklessness, and the broader political context. The reality reflects a complex intersection of ambition, miscalculation, bravery, and cultural conflict. The battle teaches enduring lessons: the dangers of underestimating an opponent, the consequences of overconfidence, and the cost of miscommunication. It highlights native resilience in defending their lands and traditions. Despite eventual defeat by U.S. forces, the courage displayed at Little Bighorn remains a testament to human will and tactical skill. Little Bighorn has left a lasting cultural and historical legacy. Monuments, books, and documentaries continue to explore the battle from multiple perspectives, honoring both U.S. soldiers and native warriors. The site serves as a place of reflection, education, and remembrance, bridging the gap between myth and historical reality. The use of scouts was critical. Crow and Arikara scouts guided Custer through unfamiliar terrain, but limited numbers and miscommunication meant Custer never grasped the full scale of the native forces. Meanwhile, Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse's scouts anticipated troop movements, giving the native coalition a decisive strategic advantage. Thousands of native men, women, and children lived in organized circles of tipis, hunting, preparing food, and performing spiritual rituals. Sitting Bull's vision and Crazy Horse's training created a disciplined and ready force. These details humanize the battle and remind us that warriors were also protecting families and their way of life. Custer's single-shot Springfield carbines and revolvers were limited compared to the mix of bows, lances, and some modern rifles used by native warriors. Terrain favored the defenders, and Custer underestimated both numbers and strategy. Discussing weaponry adds depth, tension, and context to the battle. Private Charles Windolph survived Reno Hill, later recounting the terror and courage of the day. Bloody Knife sought revenge against Sitting Bull's allies, participating with personal motivation. Custer's brother Tom displayed bravery, trying to protect men even as the battle turned fatal. These stories create emotional connection and narrative tension. Though victorious, the tribes faced ongoing challenges. U.S. military retaliation forced many onto reservations, bringing disease, starvation, and cultural disruption. This context emphasizes that even a great victory could not stop the larger tide of westward expansion. Custer's Last Stand inspired movies, books, documentaries, and games, often romanticizing him as a hero. Modern historians strive to balance this narrative, recognizing native bravery and strategic brilliance. This chapter ties history to present-day perspectives and reflections. Custer's Last Stand was more than a battle. It was a collision of cultures. Ambition met resistance, strategy met intuition, and soldiers faced warriors defending their homeland. Remembering Little Bighorn honors all who fought, teaching lessons of courage, resilience, and the cost of overconfidence. The echoes of this battle continue to shape our understanding of American history, reminding us that every story has multiple sides and deep human significance.